Welcome, everybody, to the Ogden Way Podcast. I'm Ogden City Mayor Ben Nadolski, and we're here to talk about the stories of Ogden by telling the stories of Ogden's people. And today we're joined by Meghan Kelly with Utah Neighborhood Connection. And Meghan, you're somebody who embodies the Ogden Way because you saw a need and you stepped up. That's what we do here in Ogden, right?
Right.
So thanks for coming to be with us today.
Yeah.
Appreciate having you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this nonprofit's somewhat of a new nonprofit, right?
Absolutely.
For those of us that are unaware, can you share more about what you guys do?
Yeah. So Utah Neighborhood Connection kind of came about as COVID response. We launched during 2020, but it also goes a couple of years further back than that. My mom is actually a pastor of a local church on 2nd Street. And when she began pastoring, she noticed that the back parking lot of the school, which faced Highland Junior High, was full of cars every single day, of parents doing school pickup, kids crossing through on their way home. And she wanted to get involved with the community. So she started doing what they called coffee and cocoa. So every Tuesday, she would give coffee to parents in cars, cocoa to kids who were walking home, and then it just kind of grew. So more snacks were involved, but also more kids. It was more than just Highland coming anymore. It was Leadership Learning Academy, Bottomville Elementary, Ben Lomond High. We had like 300 kids on a Tuesday. It was pretty wild.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And so while that was operating, began getting to know some of the students' stories. There was one student living in a car with their parents in a friend's driveway. There was a student who was cooking dinner on a hot plate in their bedroom at night. And so just a lot of painful situations. So when COVID started, it was like these kids are home and they have no support.
Everything got harder, right?
And so there's a lot of red tape with being a church. A lot of people thinking maybe there was a double motive happening. And so it was like, okay, what does it look like to start a non-religious nonprofit that runs in the building during the week, and then the church just meets in the building on Sundays? So we got that up and running and began doing free grocery events. So we had the Farmers to Families grant that was going on during COVID. So we were serving like 350 food boxes once a week.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, for 2 years. And so, and that's when we were able to launch our after-school program, which was the original vision, was getting the kids in the building where they had safety, they had homework support, they had a warm meal. And now we've been doing that. This is our 3rd year. So
wow, good for you. That's a lot of work in a short period of time.
It's been really special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said you ran into a lot of red tape because of the crossover between a nonprofit and a faith.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of great alignment because the faith community is like the original social service community for our country and communities, and it still is today in large part. And so Ogden's known for having such a diverse number of faiths throughout our city. And the positioning of your church right next to the school is such a perfect fit for kids for after school. It is it's just perfect.
It is perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
And then to have you and your mom and probably many, many others that helped contributed, that saw the need, stepped up and filled the need, right?
Absolutely.
That's what community does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's also what we do in the Ogden Way. We take accountability for ourselves, but we always look to our left and to our right and look to see who needs lifting and help, and that's what you've done, right? So how many kids now are you serving, and where are they coming from? They come from mostly from Highland Junior High, right?
Yes. Yeah. So majority of our students go to Highland. We have a couple of homeschoolers. And then we also, during the summer, we do kind of a transition. So we accept graduated 6th graders so they can meet some kids that will be at their school the next coming year. So we partner with the elementaries to get them into the summer program. But during the summer, we have closer to 30 students, and then during the school year, we have closer to 20.
Okay. So let's talk about your summer programming. So I've got 2 daughters. They're of the age now where they're getting to be more and more independent, but those early years are hard when you're trying to work, and especially if you're in a dual income home or if you're a single mother or single father trying to make a living and having kids at home in the summer is really hard. So to find options for after school care and summer care is hugely important for families, right?
Yeah, a lot of our students would be home playing video games, watching TV. A lot of our kids sign up because they're like, I know I'm just going to be bored. I know I myself was bored during the summer home alone while my parents were at work. And so it's just really important to be able to give students access to things they wouldn't normally be able to. A lot of our students, when we take them in the summer, like to Salt Lake City, they've never been to Salt Lake City before. And so giving them access to experiences, getting them out of the house, getting them involved with their peers, keeping their minds moving with curriculum, like all of that is so vital to the students' success. And I think, summer is just a great way to bridge that gap.
Right. I know it's an important time. It's also the time that students can lose progress that they made in the academic year, right? So you guys, how do you guys handle the curriculum piece?
Yeah. So we have changed our curriculum a couple of times, still trying to figure out what works best for them. But the coaches, that's what we call our staff, will run curriculums. We'll sometimes do book clubs and things like that. And if the students need to do credit makeup, we're right across the street from the school, so they can do their credit makeup at the school, come over after.
That's great. I feel like, so we've been really intentional in my administration in this early period of my first term that, and this is something I heard from the neighborhood when I was knocking on doors up into the north, is that people wanted more support on the north end of town. And we talk about the kind of support that they wanted and how we can make those kind of things happen. And so that's really what we've started here in my administration, is making sure that when we talk about resources, we talk about programs and projects, that we really start talking about the north. And we want to make sure that we do it in a way that doesn't take our foot off the pedal everywhere else.
Yeah.
In the places where we've been focusing. And so that's been part of it. And I feel like the north, it's got its own charm and its own like culture. The people have their own sort of like grit.
Yeah.
And it's like an extra level of roll up your sleeves, blue collar, like grit attitude and ethic to it that I really like and love. Yeah. So I just feel like when I get to engage in the north end, I feel really at home, and I always feel really welcomed. So I think you grew up in part up on the north end of town, right?
Yes. So, yeah. I spent half of my time on 15th Street. I currently now still live on the north end. I live between 3rd and 4th. I just love that area. I think it is neat and special. And it needs support. That little area right there is classified as a food desert. It's also classified as a book desert. That one surprises people sometimes. Average home has less than 10 books. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was, who measures that?
There is a book organization.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a book box in our parking lot, and it gets a lot of action because the kids walking home from school. When we have our free grocery events, families will stop and get books out. But when we got that, you classify where your book box is, and it tells you what your area's book geography is, I guess. So,
okay.
And we're a book desert. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's something we could focus on, actually.
Yeah. It's a pretty practical need that's easy to fill.
Yeah. So you said the north end of town, it's really neat and special to you.
Oh, yes,
what is it about? Yeah. I kind of shared a little bit about what I feel when I'm there and when I'm with people. What is it that draws you to the north and that you love about that neighborhood?
Yeah, I think part of it for me is nostalgia. Just having grown up there, it just feels like home. But part of it, I'm just discovering all the time. Like we just last month at our free grocery event, we had this boy who came through, and he had like a little sedan, and he filled it with food for himself, right? And then he came back through like 10 minutes later, and he's like, actually, my neighbor needs food too. Can I get some more? We're like, of course. So we filled it up. And then 10 minutes later,
oh, you can.
he's back again. And he's like, my other neighbor needs food. And I just feel like that is so special and it's not unique. Like that's happening all the time where people are looking after each other up there. People are like pulling into a parking spot because they want to build their own food box to take home, but they also want to help out. So they want to load trunks too, and I just feel like I see that everywhere, right? Where the parents of our after school kids are donating themselves like supplies or asking how they can lend a hand and I just feel like it's like a scrappy area where
scrappy. That's a great word for it. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, I need help, but I also want to give help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like the north end of town is like Ogden, like on steroids. Yeah. Like all of the good things about Ogden, and it's just heightened and intensified on the north end. The sense of service that we have for each other, the camaraderie and the scrappiness. Like Ogden's a scrappy town.
It is.
Right? We're scrappy people. Sometimes we use scrappy language.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I try to be a scrappy mayor, frankly, and I'm only electable here because this is Ogden, But I really feel like the North End embodies us a lot. So I'm really enjoying my engagement there, and I look forward to deeper and more continued engagement, and look forward to having your help in that, actually. The word connection, Utah neighborhood connection. Like you hit such a note with me with that, because there's so much connecting to do here in Ogden,
Yes.
I mean, did that word have like a nexus in the beginnings of the organization?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because when we entered the nonprofit world, we knew nothing, right? All we knew was the area's need and that wasn't being filled yet, and we wanted to step in, but we didn't know anything about the nonprofit world and how to do that. And so we called one friend who we knew had a nonprofit, and she connected us to another friend who connected us to another friend who connected us to another friend. And there was no gatekeeping. They were wide open, just ready to help us get that started and support us and champion us. And that was really powerful to us. And it also was kind of a model to us of how we wanted to be, right? We don't think that we can fill every need of our neighborhood, right? And so we want to be able to, when people come to us and they need a resource we don't have, we want to point them to who has it. And so we received connection, and then we also want to give that connection back.
Oh,
right?
That's beautiful.
So,
yeah. I find in my experience as a mayor that there are a lot of people that are hungry for opportunity. They want to do the work. They want to level up. They run into barriers and challenges that are kind of common in life. And the unfortunate thing, and sometimes it makes me feel heartened and sometimes it makes me feel sad, is that they struggle to get through these barriers in part because they just don't know where to turn or where the answers are. And so it's heartening because there's answers out there. And oftentimes we have answers with us because we get to meet so many people and in the work that we do and the position that I have, right?
Right.
But it's saddening that there's so many people out there that are just missing that connection, right?
Right.
And so I use that term a lot, and that's what really drew Cindy to introduce me to you and this connection we're making. Is that word. And that it's not just a word, it's a verb, it's a do. It's something that we need here,
Yeah.
that people deserve and need in the city. So I really appreciate that you guys do that and that you have that ethos in your mind and in your spirit. It's in your soul. I can feel it,
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. What are the kinds of connections that you see most frequently in that neighborhood that people are kind of needing the most? Or is there even a theme? Is there commonality, or are they so different?
Yeah, I feel like every story is different. And so it is hard to pinpoint what most frequently people are looking for. Yeah, I feel like people are lonely. That's a huge thing. So people are looking for community. Food, we're in a major food shortage right now, so
Yeah.
we're only meeting part of a need, so we're often having to send people out that way. A lot of people are looking for mental health resources. That's a big one up on the north end. Yeah, I would say maybe those are the big
Those
three.
are the big ones?
Yeah.
You know, the social piece, looking for company, they're feeling lonely. That's one of the initiatives within the Ogden Way. So the Ogden Way has got 7 pillars of human success, we call them, and it kind of identifies the main areas that everybody needs access to opportunities and things in our lives in order to have a well-rounded life. And it's kind of structured to meet people where they are, from basic survival all the way to thriving and stepping into your ultimate greatness, you know? But one of those main things of our happiness and our health is meaningful social connections with each other. Right. So that's actually an initiative that we have at the city that we are driving. And there are programs we run, events that we do to make sure that we're bringing each other together. Like, you just feel so much better when you're with each other and connected with each other, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you told me about spending some time living in Layton and missing Ogden. And you were always telling people you should go to Ogden, right? Missing that connection because you missed us. You missed having that fulfilling connection with each other, right?
Right.
So I would love to work with you on connecting more people to more programs and resources. It sounds like you've made a lot of good connections yourself.
Absolutely.
But there are, I'm told, 800 nonprofits in this county. There are service providers and resources galore in this county, and then in this city in particular. And we're still getting to know more and more and meeting more and more. And that's part of why we do these things, is to understand who's doing what and how does it align with the work that we're doing and still need to do, so that collectively, not just the city, but all of us together are providing opportunities to lift people and help them lift themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk to you about opportunities to connect with our recreation programs, to connect kids and adults, if they want, with opportunities in the arts, and then opportunities in the economic sphere. We have tons of opportunities for people to up-learn so that they can up-earn, right? Because the cost of living is so challenging right now.
Absolutely.
There's just not a ton that I can do to control macroeconomics, right? And so one of the things we can do the most of is to give people opportunity to up-earn. And sometimes that requires up-learning, and we've got the partners and the anchors that can help us with that, right? So I think you're positioning it not just in your mission, but the location next to the schools. Schools draw families, draw kids, right?
Right.
I think that you could be a really valuable partner for helping to make those kinds of connections. What are you hoping to achieve in the near future? Are you focused solely on the initiatives you already have, or do you have bigger goals that you're looking to develop?
We are looking to expand into adult education as well. That's been something requested of us from certain families we serve. We would love to partner with organizations that are already doing this really well, so we don't reinvent the wheel. But if they could operate at our site so that our families could have access, that would be wonderful. That's something we're looking to expand into. And then beyond that, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well,
besides improving what we're already doing.
Well, that actually ties in really good with our initiatives, because what I don't want to do, we spend a lot of time and resource creating economic opportunity here.
Yeah.
And in particular, we bring new employers here. We sometimes we work with the governor's office and other partners, et cetera, to bring huge opportunities. But other times we're just facilitating business growth, which comes with really organic need for workforce. And for me, my priority is to make sure that we are putting our people into those opportunities instead of creating the opportunity and then bringing people from the outside and therefore displacing our people.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is how we keep ourselves Ogden, by keeping us, and then just investing in ourselves and in each other, so that we can all level up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Together. And so that's my vision and my goal for economic opportunity in our community. And so we get a ton of help from the school district, also from the tech college, which is on your north side of town. Weber State is a huge anchor in our city, and they're super helpful. all three of those partners are really focused on helping people meet their own goals. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I think that your mission would be a really good fit for us, introducing you to some of those partners more and talking about opportunities for fit and alignment, right? I think we have work to do to connect the grade school kids too with our programs. We have a lot of really great recreation programs. And like, do you guys run any recreation program or connect with recreation at all?
Yeah, we haven't really connected with other organizations that way yet. We've done field trips to do different recreational activities, but we haven't really developed a program yet. Yeah.
Well, and maybe you don't need to develop a program because we already have them.
Partner with a program.
Maybe if you could help introduce kids to ours, we would love to just bring in more and more kids to participate is all.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's most of what we do, everything we do is exceedingly affordable, but also sometimes and often free. So it's not a cost thing. We want to make sure there's no cost barriers for kids to participate, you know? But those are good activities to give kids mental health as well because of that exercising, right? Do you hear anything particular about adult education needs or desires that come up? Is it vocational related or is it like a lifelong learning?
Yeah, people have asked us for parenting classes quite a bit. And I know Leadership Learning Academy down the road, they said they've been requested for that quite a bit as well. Also some different like English second language, things like that has been requested. Yeah, so I'm not sure where we'll start first. Or
You're open?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
we've got another partner that would be a great introduction to would be my hometown, Ogden. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
I've had John Watson and Steve Peterson were on the show early on in the tenure of our podcast here and shared a lot of the work that they're doing, and they offer those services. And we're really looking to offer more and more of that involvement on the north end. Yeah. So maybe that would be a good collaboration as well, right?
Yes.
In addition to the service they do with like helping people with their homes and their yards, and I mean, talk about a way to serve.
Yeah, I love their
That's
work.
a lot of heaven, right?
Yeah.
I know they're incredible.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you so it's okay to talk about here. I know that you have a little sensitivity because of the bureaucracy and the barriers between nonprofit and faith community, but tell us a little bit about the faith that is in the church. What faith is in the church that you're?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Christian church. It's called Crossroads. It's Foursquare denomination. But
can you tell us more about it? We have a real broad diversity of faiths in our city.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to avoid talking about it, but
yeah, a neat thing is they actually were able to give us the seed money to start the organization.
Okay.
Foursquare does this thing called a tithe return where you get, I'm not quite sure how it works, but you get kind of a lump sum at the end that you can use for like benevolence. And so we were able to use that to launch the organization. We would not be started without that. But yeah, it's kind of neat. The neighborhood we're in, it has Crossroads, and there's also a Spanish church that rents out the building. So UNC, the church, and the Spanish church all share.
Man, you guys are doing it all.
Yeah, and then next door, there's another Spanish church, and then we're right between two Latter-day Saint churches. So there's so many churches right on 2nd Street. It's kind of wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
But also indicative of service.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you guys have a lot of like spirit of abundance and collaboration across the churches and the faiths?
Yeah, still trying to build relationships with a couple of them. But a lot of our volunteer manpower comes from the churches, which is really nice. Yeah, they're all just so supportive of what we're doing and just really love the neighborhood. And so it's been neat to see people come together.
Nice. How many volunteers do you guys have?
For our free grocery events, it is all hands on deck. We get a huge box truck full of food. We unload it the same day. And we have to then dismantle all the pallets of food, create food boxes and then load the trunks. So we have to have a huge team inside and a huge team outside. We've had anywhere from 8 volunteers, which is not enough, to like 45 for an event. Because we also need traffic control, because one time we got the police called on us because we stopped a city bus. They couldn't get around because people were in line for the food. So now we have 2 traffic guys.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I had no idea. And then all of a sudden the police were there. It was like,
whoops.
Like, we're just trying to give out food. I don't know.
Well, hopefully they helped you.
Yes, they were very understanding. But yeah, so it's all hands on deck. And it's just been really neat. They're so much fun, and they are really hard sometimes, and I think those are the ones where you bond the most, right? Because you just have to laugh at the end of the night so you don't cry. But
I know. Well, that's actually how you make the closest connections in the relationships. Mm-hmm. I've told this before, Mike McBride, that's how I met him, was volunteering in our community and honestly working our butts off. Like,
I'm sure,
long, late nights, early mornings, lots of sweat, lots of hard work. Yeah. We laughed a ton. I don't think we ever really cried, but maybe we wanted to a few times when things came up. But that's the thing that creates bonds, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's actually what my hometown, Ogden, talks about, is that you create the closest relationships when you work alongside each other. Mm-hmm. Most especially when you serve alongside each other.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's your volunteers, if they're coming from the neighboring churches. Mm-hmm. Presumably they're coming from the neighborhood broadly, right? Mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, our after-school program students and families are some of our most committed volunteers as well. That's been really neat to see them. The kids love to go up and down on the truck on the platform, and they're really helpful. And then they get to take a bag of food home as well. Some of my favorite friends are from the free grocery events. They're just so fun. Yeah. So we have, people from the church, people from the after school program, people from just social media, people who used to get food no longer need to, people who still get food. It's been really amazing.
Wow. So you have a number of people that maybe just had a period of their lives where they needed help, but they've moved out of that. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you've certainly been able to help them through that.
Yeah. We have... Yeah, we serve the gamut of people. We have that come through our food lines. We have college students who are just struggling to make ends meet. We have retired people. We have people who are, just down on their luck for a moment. People who I think will always be in the food line, unfortunately. It just really depends.
Do we talk about where you get your food?
No.
Can you tell us that?
Yeah, we get our food from an organization called Synergy in Action. And this is really special to me because I used to work with the man who runs it, Alfred, when I was in high school. So that was when I kind of fell in love with meeting practical need and what that could look like. I would go with him down to Salt Lake City, to inner city, like Rose Park area. Yep. And we would serve food there to different apartment complexes and things. And so when we were starting during COVID, he was our connection to the Farmers to Families grant, and he's still our food connection to this day. He gets like overstock, like grocery rescue format type food. We never know how much food we're getting, what quality, what quantity. Sometimes we get like 10 plus pallets and they're full all the way to the top. And sometimes you open it and you're like, I don't know how this is going to serve everybody. But it mostly seems to work out. We don't typically have to turn people away. And it's just really fun because, you never know what kind of food it is.
You don't know until you open the box?
Yeah, so the truck opens and I'm like, you guys know as much as I do what we're going to be working with today. And I think, that's what's so fun about the grocery events is just you never know how many cars, how much food. Yeah. How many volunteers? And it always seems to work out. But
because it's made to work out because you and all the volunteers are there to make sure of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what kinds of foods are common in the shipments?
Yeah. So oftentimes we get gorgeous produce, which is so exciting. The most exciting thing we can get is meat. That is a little bit more rare. We usually have milk, which is amazing. Families love to get milk. And then beyond that, it is such a question mark. Sometimes we get like stuff from like really nice grocery stores, like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, like that
Really?
kind of stuff, which is so cool. Sometimes we get like restaurant type stuff, so you have to break it down a little farther because it's in like mass. Yeah, it's like too big for a family. So we'll break it up and split it between families. But yeah, you just really never know whether it's canned goods, boxed goods, fresh food, combination.
Gotcha. Do you guys accept donations from the public or anything?
Yes. Yeah, we keep a very small food pantry on site. And we use that to supplement if we're starting to run low at the end of a free grocery event, if we have someone drop in for food, if after school family needs food, something like that. So when people donate to us, we load that pantry and then we use it as we go, and we're always super grateful for that. Also, always super grateful for diapers, period products, baby formula. That stuff goes like hotcakes. And it's a little bit harder to get it donated. So with our annual gala, we usually have people bring a box of diapers or something with them when they come, because families are always asking and always struggling to get those.
Gotcha. Tell us about your gala.
Yeah, so it's coming up April 25th. Yeah, we still have tickets available. Those are available on our website, connectutah.org, or you can get a table. Ogden City already has a table, so that's
Perfect.
super awesome.
Where's it at?
It's at the Monarch.
At the Monarch, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And the time?
6.
Okay.
Double check that on our website. Yeah, I believe it's 6. Yeah.
Is that where you is that kind of your main fundraiser for the year?
Mm-hmm.
What other sources of funds do you have? Grants?
Yes.
And individual donations, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how much staff do you guys have?
I am our only full-time staff at the moment. So that is our goal with our fundraiser, is to be able to have another full-time staff. Otherwise, we have our amazing program staff who are dedicated to the after-school program exclusively. And we have 3 of those, and then 1 who does like a little bit.
Okay.
So 3.2.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we find most helpful in this city for us,
mm-hmm.
And for others too, is making sure that we're kind of capitalizing and building on each other's efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And that connecting, I think, is going to be really helpful for you guys. And
absolutely,
I really look forward to the gala, but also look forward to helping to connect you with others and others with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a real synergy and opportunity there.
Absolutely,
like you guys are right in the
mm-hmm.
heart of it, right there,
mm-hmm.
for a lot of kids,
mm-hmm.
right? So we really look forward to that. Well, is there anything about your program or about your nonprofit or about the north end of town that you want to share of your own that I haven't asked you about? Surely there's something.
I know, I'm trying to think.
I'll share something while you think of something. How's that? I'll take the heat off you for a second. So full admission, I've got 2 girls and they go to Ogden High School, or they're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both at Mount Ogden Junior High right now, and
mm-hmm.
one's a 9th grader, so that means she's playing sports as a freshman at the high school. But
yeah,
so we're clearly kind of going into the Ogden High community, but I've been spending more time
mm-hmm.
even with Ben Lomond and with the students and the faculty and parents and staff. And I think people are starting to get a little like, whoa, what's your allegiance, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm obviously a Tiger because that's what my kids are going to, but I'm a Scot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Ogden kids. When they played each other, I just went to the softball game. They played each other, and I knew kids on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Actually had coached a ton of kids on the Ben Lomond side. I knew more kids in the Ben Lomond than I did in the Ogden even. And it's so hard to cheer one and the other than my daughter's on one, you know?
Yeah.
So the thing I love about where you're doing your work is that I have fallen in love with the north side of town and the kids and the community and the people.
Mm-hmm.
There's just such a camaraderie there that is unique in and of itself. It's hard to explain, but it's like a microcosm of Ogden, you know? They take the Ogden grit to another level. Like we always talk too about how we in Ogden have a chip on our shoulders, that people kind of second guess us, or they doubt us, or they might criticize us or something about something in our past, and we have a chip on our shoulder about it. And I feel like the North Side's got a chip, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, we got this. We believe in ourselves, you know? So anyway, I love that about the North End. So that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't about the North End specifically, but like growing up in Ogden, people would always say like Ogden was the armpit of Utah, Ogden was ghetto, like stuff like that. And it's just been neat. Like I got married at Union Station last year, and just like getting to have all these people fly in and drive in, and getting to really show them Utah. Like on our wedding website, we had like a list of things to do and like local businesses to try, and people at the wedding were like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I loved going to this, I loved going to that, like this city is so special. And I've always been proud of Ogden, even when it was an armpit, but it was never an armpit to me. But it's just been neat. Like we are fully, I feel like, out of that reputation. Like people love Ogden, feel like it's an art hub, like are so like enamored with it. And so I think it will be, and like it will be neat when people get to, I don't know, like explore the North End that way. I feel like the North End is scrappy and wonderful and has an Ogden identity, but it doesn't quite have that shareability yet where people can come in and explore it. And I just love the idea that will soon come.
Yeah, you're right. No, that's a really good point. Part of what we want to make sure that we're doing when we engage in the North is also giving them opportunities to engage downtown, making sure there's like arts opportunities. There's in the arts district, we have opportunities not just to enjoy art or to do art, but to be an artist in the economy, to make a living as an artist. And those are things we want to make sure that the North End is having access to. But also, you make a really good point about we are not accessing the North, right? If we don't live on the North End and we don't go to school at Ben Lomond or in the middle school or the grade schools, right? Because there's not like the big or the big employment hub or et cetera up there. And so those are some things that we are working on here. We'll share more of those details when they're ready, but to create more economic opportunity and hub up on the North End, and to create recreation opportunities on the North End, to provide centers for resources and community connection. Those are all things that are kind of in the idea stages that we're working on formal proposals for, that we'll be announcing here. But those are the things that are going to connect us to the North and the North to us, and make Ogden because it's us, right?
Right.
That's what it means to swing resource north, right?
Right.
So I really appreciate you said that. I get to spend a lot of time too with other mayors across the whole state, and including the country actually at times. But one of the things that I hear a lot, and it's Ogden specific, and it's related to what I feel when I go to the North, is that people feel really welcomed in the city. People that might have an opinion of us based on the past, like you said, the term I don't like to repeat,
Yes.
They come here and they're like, this isn't at all what I would have thought it would be, right?
Right.
And so for anybody that doesn't live in Ogden, hasn't been to Ogden, come experience Ogden before you judge Ogden. It's just as real here. It's like the real world, real life, real people, authentic sincerity, right?
Right.
So congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you.
Thank you for choosing Union Station.
Yeah.
Every episode that we do, I like to choose a call to action, I call it. Like, what are some of the things that we talked about today that encourage us to take action, so that we're not just talking about it, we're actually working on it, we're actually doing it. And before I do my call to action, I first want to draw more attention to the gala. That could be a call to action.
Absolutely.
If this mission resonates with you, if this is something that you see, you're seeing the need, she's seeing the need, we all see it. If you want to get involved, the gala is one way to participate and engage, but also if you have goods that you want to donate, that's another way. What are some of the other ways that we can ask people to engage?
Come experience a free grocery event. We always have those. They're posted on our social media, Utah Neighborhood Connection. Those are a wonderful way to get involved. If you have an organization that you feel like would be a good collaborator for us, you can always reach out to me.
So donate, volunteer, collaborate.
Yeah.
Right. Volunteer, donate, collaborate. That rhymes a little bit better that order. I'd also say for calls to action, if you haven't been to Ogden, you haven't experienced Ogden, but you've heard something about Ogden, come actually experience Ogden before you judge us, right?
Yeah.
Come meet our people and see how you feel when you leave here. That's a frustration for me as the mayor, is that people think one thing of us and we're not. But it's also a point of pride. One of the other things about when I get to engage with other mayors is they actually remark on how they're kind of jealous sometimes, some cities, about how much community pride we have, and that we have a strong identity of ourselves and a strength within that they see and feel. And so that's something that we get to brag about.
Absolutely.
So thanks for being here to brag about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for bragging about your mission. Thanks for serving and stepping up. Thanks for embodying the Ogden Way. Thanks for just being Ogden. We are who we are because of people like you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And we look forward to more engagement.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your call to action. If you're looking to help, reach out to Utah Neighborhood Connection. Donate goods if you have them. Come to the gala if you can. If you want to help load groceries, that's one way. If you want to get involved even more and be help with after school or summer care, go through the training and get prepared for that, right? Okay, so Meghan Kelly, formerly Megan Shaw, congrats on the wedding.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today. Thank you, everybody, for being here for the Ogden Way.